working, and now it's whatnot. But first, let me just tell Ms. Robinson, Jacqueline, definitely thank you so much for inviting me down here. I didn't sleep the last 2 days, so you have to forgive me if I'm a little disoriented because there's so much going on with the company that a lot of us who are actively involved with this company right now are spending a little bit of extra time looking in detail of what we have our hands on. I'm just going to give you a little bit of understanding about what I've done before and why it is that I got involved with this company and exactly what's been going on the last 18 months. It's been astounding when you talk about finances. I'm 31 years old. I have worked for myself for many years. I opened up my first business when I was 16. I've been in home-based businesses now for over a decade. As a matter of fact, I started my own business when I was 16 selling something called Vector, which was a whole bunch of little knife sets that you could take and go around and give people these different knives that you could cut things with. And that was the first business that I worked. I remember I went to school, went to college, did all the basic things. I went to high school, went to college, and got a degree. And the whole time I continued to work these home-based businesses. And what actually happened was that it came a point in time where I remember, some of you may have heard this before, where your parents may have pushed you to go and get a college education and go ahead and go get a good job, and I did exactly that. My mother told me to go ahead and get employment, so even though I was working my own business, she encouraged me to go ahead and get a job. So what I did was, and I'll just tell you how I got fired from the last few jobs I had really quickly, so to condense it all together. But first, I went to Walgreens after coming out of college because I was going to be a manager there, and I got fired because I actually showed up late for work during my probationary period, which was I couldn't control the traffic, so I got fired for that. I left from there and I went to an investment company called Ernst & Young, where we were doing management consulting. Okay, I got downsized there because they lost a contract that was with, of all people, AT&T. And the last place I went to was a job with the federal government for the Department of Labor. I think I was maybe 22, 23 at the time. Great position for people who want to work. I mean, I was making about close to $100,000 a year. I was like 23 years old. And I actually got fired because I didn't agree with my supervisor about the fact that she said that I should want to make a 20-year game plan to work for the government. I told her that I didn't want to work there more than 2 years. So when my performance review came up, she gave me a very low marking on my performance review during my probationary period, and right back out the door again, I was back out doing my own thing, running my own businesses. Now, to make a long story short, I started working my home-based business full-time. I was with a company called ACN. And at that time, that company was selling local and long-distance services from home. And me and my friends started working this business, and over time, we started making us some money. And we did okay with that company. But I'm going to fast forward up to 18 months ago. I have a 10-year-old son, my little boy was staying with me, and we were vacationing, and a friend of mine called me up, and he said that there was something I need to take a look at. Now, me and this guy had worked together before in another company. He's always been a real go-getter, and I said, you know what, if you got something that you can tell me about that's going to make some additional money, I want to see what it is. And so I took some time, and he told me a little bit about the company that I'm going to show you. And just before I even get to the company, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what's going on with the economy right now, because it's disheartening. Now, when I came off of the airplane earlier, and I was being driven here to the hotel, I saw that your gas price here is a little bit closer to $5 than ours is in Chicago. Well, I have to use premium gas because of the kind of car that I have, but for me to buy gas in Chicago, it looks like it's about $4.69 a gallon right now. I saw you guys' gas prices at like $4.89, the one gas station that I passed coming over here. And that's, you might as well say that's $5. You would agree with that, right? Mm-hmm. Now, anybody know what minimum wage is right now?
Like $10.
Oh, it's about what?
$8.25.
What do you think is going to happen when minimum wage and the gas price get a little bit closer? Does anybody know what that's going to be like? Your housing prices here are even more expensive than they are in Chicago also. Here for like a studio, one bedroom here is like $1,000, right? Now, the reason I'm bringing it up is because I was reading something in the Wall Street Journal a couple of days ago. They were talking about how people who are making less than $100,000, their course of lifestyle right now are saying that their lifestyle is diminishing. As a matter of fact, the front of another newspaper that I was looking at actually talked about how millionaires are struggling right now. That's a weird word to hear. If you hear someone's a millionaire and they're struggling financially, you're thinking in your head, like, how could a millionaire be struggling financially, right? Well, the bad thing is this. Technically, the economy is so backwards right now because, one, you're dealing with inflation, okay, which means things are overpriced, and then you're also dealing with a weak dollar. So there's a couple of things that I thought about that make this company it's sort of like a no-brainer. when you look at it. First and foremost, the important thing about understanding when there's going to be when there's a recession right now, some people are not saying it's a depression, but it's definitely a recession, is that in order for you to make money during a recession, you have to understand two things. One, the economy is definitely going down. There's only two things that have actually made money in the last two economies, the last two times the economy sort of flipped down with it is right now. But the one I'm going to focus on is telecommunications. Now, a lot of people say that real estate's a good market to get into right now, and I tell folks all the time that I want to get involved in a business that pays me residual income. Now, some of you guys may or may not know what residual income is, but I can tell you this much. If you're not earning residual income right now, the likelihood, most economic magazines are saying that if you're not earning residual income, they're saying that you're living what's called at an average income level. That means that you have to go to work in order to make money. Anybody here know what residual income is? Possibly? Yes? So, all that means is this. You do something one time and you keep getting paid. Now, I never was a really smart guy, but I did know one thing. I want to do something once and keep getting paid off of it. That's the one thing I've always tried to focus on. Anything that does not pay me residual income, I try to stay away from, especially now, knowing what I know now about economics. So I looked at telecommunications as I saw the economy coming down, because we sort of saw the housing market getting ready to do what it's doing right now, like 2.5 years ago. A lot of things are overpriced, and I kept saying that how long can this actually keep going up? Does that make sense? So everything reaches a top out level, and then it sort of crashes down. So when we figured that the housing market was going down, I said, what is the one thing that always seems to thrive in every single economy? What's the one thing that stays consistent? And there's two things that always happen in a bad economy. Anybody know what those two things are? There's two things you're going to have to always do. Well, one of them is you always got to pay bills, right? Right? Because we all work to pay our bills every single month. The second thing is people always use telecommunications. See, communications is one thing that is never going to be affected by the economy, because people, when the economy goes down, people tend to do what? They tend to complain, right? So what do? They get on the phone and complain in most cases. They call people, they complain about the gas prices, they complain about they can't pay their bills, but they're going to use their phone. Telecommunications is the only industry that has made money every single year. I don't know if this is on. Every single year since its inception. Is it on? Is it on? Since its inception. And when I found that out, the first thing I said to myself was like, well, if I get involved in another business, I want to get involved in something that will pay me residual income, and I want it to be a residual-based income stream based on telecommunications, because I did understand that those two things are going to be profitable long term. Now, many of you may not have heard of it. You ever heard of a company called AT&T before? Yes? All right. Have any of you ever heard of a company called Vonage before? You heard of Vonage before, right? All right, now let me tell you something funny. This is 2008 right now. Back in 2003, I remember when Vonage first got started, they were looking for people to invest money in the company for the company to get started up. And me and my friends, we heard about that. And we said that, you know what? I hit this button. I said, you know what? If we get a chance to invest in a startup company, maybe that's something that we should do. Oh, there it is. And so that's what we thought about doing. And at the time, Vonage, you need to have about $500,000 in capital to be able to put into an investment with the company. And then, if things went well, you make money. But if things didn't go well, then you wouldn't make money, right? Well, lo and behold, we did not invest in the company because at the time, that was all the money that we had, and we just felt like it was too big of a risk to actually take. But I'm sure that many of you probably have heard of Vonage now, yes? And so you've been seeing a lot of commercials with digital phone service that have been running. You're hearing a lot about that going on right now, but literally, we missed millions of dollars if we would have got a chance to invest in that technology 5 years ago. Now, fast forward, with the economy the way that it is, we're right back in the same position we sort of were then, in that people are looking for a business to get themselves involved with. Now, what I'm going to tell you is that they said in the Wall Street Journal that 3 out of 5 Americans are going to have some kind of home-based business in the next 6 years. 3 out of 5. In the next 10, they're projecting that everyone will have a home-based business. They're saying because you need it to supplement income, and also you need it for the tax savings that you will get also. So, are there any people who own a business right now at all? I have owned a business. What kind of business do you have?
Real estate.
Real estate? How's that going?
Pretty good.
Yeah? All right. How much did it take you to get it set up?
Probably about 100K.
About 100 grand? Okay. Who else? Who else has a business? Huh?
Newspaper.
Newspaper? How much capital to start up?
Not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a journalist and I don't make a lot of capital.
Okay. Okay. Now let's stop. Who else has a business that you had before? What about you?
Distribution company. Distribution?
Distribution?
Yeah.
How much did it cost to get it set up?
No. All right.
Just got started with it, huh?
Yes.
Anybody else had a business they started up recently? You? No? Somebody back here said they had one.
Yeah, I am.
What kind of